Alright. So what? So I never really got really just like the context behind the scene. Like Patrick is a gamer. Like it doesn't like it has nothing to do with the conversation that's being spoken about how the dichotomy between the relationship of SpongeBob and Patrick is that SpongeBob is the only person in the world to see Patrick the opposite way on how the rest of the world sees Patrick. That is a buffoon. SpongeBob sees Patrick's potential and all.
I believe by what Patrick's voice actor is trying to say is that Patrick is like having like a childlike. It's like childlike. He has a childlike mindset. Like kids who play video games.
No, I just don't understand the correlation between like the childlike, like the term gamer and childlike mindset. Like when you consider the kind of conversation of like Patrick being kind of like a schemer almost, because that's kind of almost like how Tom Kenny put it.
It's like game. Sometimes in games, you gotta strategize in games. Gamers. They gotta strategize, in RPGs. They gotta make sure, like.
I didn't know that. Are you telling me that like Patrick was like playing Daggerfall and shit?
Yeah, man. Patrick is the type of guy.
He's gotta min-max his shit. He fucking majors in thaumaturgy.
That's the mindset of a gamer. The scheming mindset. Gotta strategize, think. So. Gamers nowadays, they want Patrick. The clip they played before the famous Patrick is a gamer line. It shows Patrick wanting something. And then the next clip he gets the toy, his Happy Meal toy thrown at his face. And I think that's what it means by Patrick's voice actor means that he's kind of greedy, like gamers nowadays, they want that DLC, they're looking for the next Street Fighter.
I'd be impressed. I'd be impressed if Patrick's voice actor had that kind of insight, considering the fact that this documentary came out in 2003.
Sometimes kids are gonna beg their parents, yo, I want the new fucking Street Fighter, the new Mortal Kombat. That's it. That's his description. That's his interpretation of Patrick. He wants a lot of things.
So how do we describe? But like, how do we not know he's not describing gamer as in like gambling? Because I've heard gamer can also be used to denote someone who gambles.
We never see Patrick in the show. Using any sort of currency in some way of some sort.
But that could just be like
off-screen, like other than like I don't know, maybe an off-screen assumption. Maybe that's how he gets his fucking burgers.
Well, no, I think there's a scene where he said, "I have $3." I think that's a scene.
No, it doesn't really entail gambling of sorts.
Well, it could just be that like since Tom Kenny's talking about the schemes and he's talking about Patrick being like a gambler, maybe that's what's coming up, is that Patrick's like kind of like a con man type person, but like a really crappy con man. He's like that friend that your mom told you not to hang out with, and like there's a good reason why you're not supposed to hang out with them, but you're too childish to understand, which could be what Tom Kenny was getting on about, is that Patrick is actually a bad person to be hanging around SpongeBob.
See, I don't think the world, Patrick, as the show establishes, Patrick is not a very bright man. I don't believe he sees the grand scheme of things.
Well, yeah, that's what he's getting at, is that Patrick doesn't see the grand scheme of things, but Patrick thinks he sees the grand scheme of things. He's delusional, So ultimately, what could be interpreted throughout this kind of through what they're saying is that Patrick seems almost like a limiter upon SpongeBob, who is holding him back. But the problem is that that doesn't really make much sense in relationships with the movie's sort of narrative. Patrick, although he may not have been the most useful, he did play his part a couple times, uh, especially during the Shell City arc.
I believe I have come to another conclusion about the line. Patrick is a gamer. Gamer, any gamer can relate with the Dark Souls, the Legend of Zelda 2. It's difficult, it's hard, but gamers, they always find a way. They always find a way around it.
So you see Patrick as a thrill seeker.
No, he does not seek a thrill seeker. No, he's simply
Or seeking challenge,
He's simply able to overcome challenges like any other game.
I see where you're getting at. Yeah, I think we're getting close to the conclusion. Because, think about it, he's ignorant of his own physical limitations. Just like how SpongeBob is ignorant of Patrick's mental limitations. There's it's that kind of ignorance they're wallowing in. It's just that Patrick is so headstrong and is willing to overcome challenges is that he can be described as a gamer of sorts. He enjoys doing it.
That is the meaning behind the line.
Did we just actually do it?
Just finished the video.
We just finished the video right here? Shit, I think I just...
Yeah. Alright. Alright. So, that is our final conclusion. I'm conclusion behind the line. Patrick is a gamer. Patrick is a gamer.
So, our final conclusion is that Patrick is a gamer in the sense that he is sort of he is sort of willing to take on such dangerous challenges. Alright, his sort of conviction. Alright. And his conviction is not born out of simple ideas such as courage or strength or ideology. His conviction is born purely of his own ignorance of his limitations, which is what Tom Kenny was getting at when talking about how SpongeBob idolizes Patrick because he sees Patrick as the smartest person in the world, despite the fact that the entire world sees him as otherwise. Patrick's own ignorance is what fuels his sort of conviction to overcome trials, in a sense, sort of like a gamer.